final live stream of the day. We're going to build the final level of our facade tower. So far we've covered the arch top with the towers on. We've popped in the balcony doors for the level above that, which match the hospital wing windows. And this layer, ignore all that for the moment. This layer is going to be to match the architecture that was featured on the outside of the Polyjuice Potions Mistake set. So it's going to be those small bay windows, and they're the windows that I've used on my upper floor common rooms and dormitories for Gryffindor and Ravenclaw, and they all sit on the same level on the same face of the castle as this. So we're going to have windows to match those levels. Now, as you can see, this one has got again those 3 8x8s. This time we've got lots of sort of plank and wood style flooring using various bits and bobs, stickers from various sets. Got these printed tiles in the Halloween season gift with purchase, and these are going to be the floor. They're going to be viewed from this side for 2 or 3 different builds that are going to be built into this module. I'm going to show you one once we complete the facade wall. That's the first one that I built, but for now let's crack on with building our exterior wall. So we're going to start at the bottom, obviously. Needless to say, nice long brick to hold this all together. Now, because this has got the floors in already, we don't really need those long bricks, but strength is always handy. Now this one sits on the top of our facade tower, so it doesn't have the little side walls in, and we are relying entirely on the fact that it sits against the back row of modules here and is secured at the sides here, and we're just praying that gravity doesn't take over, especially if I leave it set up with the interior scene all the way through. So that's our first couple of rows of bricks, and we come now to our first of our little windows. So these ones are made up of various different plate and brick layers, the first of which is our windowsill. So we need a couple of these guys here, so these inverse slopes, and they're going to provide the main portion of our bay window. Pop in a little sill there, and then from here we can actually start building up the window itself. So one of these. Now the various bricks that I'm using here, yet again, being the poor Lego builder that I am, are largely what I had on hand. So instead of a lot of square 1x1s, as I mentioned, I'm constantly running out of them. You'll see a number of cylinders in the build here, like that. Let's build up the infrastructure at the sides. There we go. Now we can start off putting our first details onto the top here. Now I'm going to use an L shape bracket there, just to hold that together. And because this uses a lot of plates, you have to keep everything even by integrating a number of plate layers in. Just build up the infrastructure of the next portion of the wall. Let's do this on screen, shall we? That'd be helpful. There we go, just so we can get this all built in together. And then the top of the window is just going to be finished off like this. And now we can add our detail pieces on. So we're sticking with the sand green for our roof details. Got 2 little bits there. And the top of the roof, I just used 2 cheese wedges. Again, it could equally be one of those slightly taller that I used at the top of the arch. Let's see if I've got it handy. One of these pieces, just to get a bit more pronounced peak. But I like that slightly shallower peak, like that, and it just keeps everything the same. So we're just going to repeat these windows going across. So we've got 3 units like this. That goes, where does that go? There. So again, we've got a little headlight brick in here, just so I can stick some ghosts to the outside, so that when my castle's closed up, it's a bit more interesting to look at than merely a blank wall. You hear that brick disappear somewhere. Where's that gone? Nightmare. Oh, it's a classic of building live, pinging a brick somewhere. Into the emergency stash of bricks. Didn't get a replacement without knocking everything all over. There we go. So let's start building up this next window. So again, sometimes I'm using 1x2s, sometimes just little single bricks. Oh, that doesn't have that. Stick it on that top one there. And I think, yeah, I did. As I was so short on bricks but had plenty of cylinders, I used cylinders all the way across just to give it a bit more consistency. Go. Pop our plate across there just to bring everything up to the same build level. 1x3, no real point to the 1x3s other than that's what I had on hand, and it means that we can move across, integrating into the walls as well as just on both sides. Thank you. So the spacing on these matches the spacing on my other sides, because each of my modules for a dorm room or a common room is 8x8. So I've centered these windows on each of these 8x8 plates, and that keeps the spacing consistent moving across the whole of the module. It just gives us a nice consistent look to the castle when they're all in place. So I'll be doing another tour update because there have been some changes inside the castle. Pop that on and finish that window. There we go, second one done. I'll be doing that fairly soon in the new year. Got 1 new classroom to add. Well, it's not actually a classroom, it's an office. Give you a tiny sneak peek of that later in this stream. And then once that's done and the castle's at its current completed state, yeah, then we can do another tour video and look at the version, or whatever it is now, 3 or 4 probably, of the castle. So a nice long plate there just to integrate everything and hold it in place. With those builds partially being only on the outside, we've just got some little plates holding things in. We just want to anchor all of those to stop them moving around. You can see on the inside everything's nicely integrated. Oh, a dirty brick. But that's going to be covered up on our interiors. Going to finish off the top. Couple more layers of bricks. Again, some nice long ones. Helps hold everything steady. stops these walls wobbling about. And the top layer is capped again with a bunch of extra plate. Now it doesn't really need to be like that on the top, but whatever style of roofing I end up adding on the top here will need to anchor really well on this front wall, because there'll be no support for it back here. So here we are with our dilapidated wooden floors, and this interior is going to be host to 2 or 3 different home interiors, or building home, maybe taking it a step too far. And the first one that I'm going to add is going to be 12 Grimmauld Place. So I've already built this. I've put all of these interior parts together, and they live, I don't really give anything away by showing you it like this, as ever, inside a Hogwarts Moments book. So I've got all these, so I'm just going to start placing these in, and we can get a look at our 12 Grimmauld Place interior. So first of our walls features these lovely stickers of the Black family tree. Really nice stickers. I was very taken with the 12 Grimmauld Place, but it's really all about the exterior on that. The interiors are fairly sparse, not fantastic, but the details of those interiors are very, very nice. So that's our first of our side walls. The next of our walls again features the rest of the tapestry. Couple of Black family portraits. We've got one that's been blasted away, and another one here, and just here is our bureau build. So let's see if we can take that out and have a look at how that's put together. No, I'm going to destroy the whole thing. Right, so this is the dresser, or the writing desk rather, that ends up with a boggart inside it. So the build for this is fairly simple. It's just a wall piece, and up here at the top, can we come off in one piece? No, just everything's going to fall apart. So we've got a couple of snot bricks, 2 studs high, onto which we've put a plate and a cheese wedge, and then we've just got one of these rail pieces on top just for a nice little bit of detail. Let's reattach my floor. And then again we're just going to finish off that front just for a bit of detail overhanging the writing desk. And the writing desk itself is fairly simple, but it creates a nice look. Are we focused? Oh, I don't know. So again, it's a couple of these what would you call them? Detail pieces with a cheese wedge on the front. And the cheese wedge is really there just to stop our tilt table going over any further, and that just gives us a nice angle. Now I had these regular green, what are they called? Slopes, I suppose, slope plates. So that's what I used. I think I'd like it in dark green, ideally. I think that's going to be a better look. But that kind of green leather writing desk top. And when these all pop in together, you'll see that cheese wedge gives us the angle there, and it sits perfectly. And those cheese wedges hold it. Ain't geometry great? And so that gives us our little writing desk for our boggart to be in. So don't worry about these bricks being random colours, because they're not going to be visible once the build proceeds. So let's attach that onto the wall. And that's going to slot in just behind there. That feels too... Oh, fabulous. Hang on a minute. Got to fight with my bricks for a second. Talk amongst yourselves. I thought something was missing. Yeah, we need an extra plate on the bottom of that just to bring everything up to the full number of bricks in level. So there you see we get our tapestry going around the corner. Very nice indeed. And our writing desk. And just as an extra bit of interest inside here, we can have a sofa. How do I put that in? I'll just pop it in there. Just something to make it a bit more lived in. Plus, if we are ever displaying Ron and Hermione sleeping in this room, obviously you can have one on the floor and one on the sofa. They can be holding hands. Let's destroy our sofa. What happened there? Take that out for the moment. So this, you'll probably recognise, is the sofa that came in the Hogwarts chest. Same build. Instead of the chessboard that was on there as a flat stud, I've just put another plate because you can't see it in the sofa build, and I've already used the chessboard in my Ravenclaw common room. So we're going to close off this room just with a doorway, and that of course will lead into our hallway. Now the hallway, come off. The hallway itself, do I buy extra sets for pieces or buy pieces separately off Bricklink? Bricklink mainly. I tend not to buy sets to part out. Just because I don't need all of it. Obviously I'm going to be building these mocks that are largely going to be interiors, so often it will just be the sticker sheets. Sometimes I'll get the bits. I really wanted, I bought Dumbledore's office because I wanted to reach the threshold for the gift with purchase, which was the important thing to me during that release. So I didn't get it on 1st of June. I waited to the middle of July just because I really wanted that grand staircase, because I wanted all the stickers of the portraits and things. And likewise with this, I didn't buy the set, I just bought the sticker sheet, and all of the pieces came from my inventory. So you see this wall is fully into, oh, ignore those, shh. Random bits of not Lego, again stolen from my son. But I needed a couple more snot bricks. So this here is going to be the hallway with the covered portrait of Mama Black. And then also the kitchen. So we've got a row of cupboards, and these are just some snot bricks on the wall, and then a long plate just with some jumpers. I may well change it out, I think, for slimmer doors, maybe 1x2s, but then once you've got a handle on there, it's just like a row of knobs, so maybe those are fine. I think I'll put some handle over those just to make them look like a bit more like a cupboard. So the cooker's very simple, just again snot brick on the wall, a bracket and a couple of 1x2s just with that white plate over the top. And for the cooker hood, again just another bracket with a white plate on top. They're going to sit there. Counter's very simple, just a row of bricks on top of some plate on top, integrated into the wall. Again, you see here we've got a hole for integrating it into the wall, because once it's on, that's not in the right place at all, because that plate layer, that was terribly thought out. Oh well, design changes needed. I was going to be all smug then and say it all integrates together, but clearly not the case. So we have our hallway and kitchen, but we need to separate those, and that's just going to be this simple wall here, again with a couple more of those portraits. That's going to be our hallway side, and then that black family crest, a bit battered and dishevelled, being displayed in the kitchen. So yes, there's no doorway between the kitchen and the hallway, but it's not entirely necessary. They're not actually next to each other. One's in the basement, one's up on the ground floor. But it just gives us the chance to get all of those well-known elements of 12 Grimmauld Place in together in one display. let's find the rest of our details. So we're going to pop a kitchen table here. Nice simple build. I think I want to replace these with brown because gold is a bit garish for that kitchen. And then a 6x2 plate and a couple of jumpers on top just to lift the height a bit. And we can put some bottles. We can be looking at the latest propaganda from the ministry and the newspaper. That brings a bit more life to our kitchen. But what really brings the scenes alive, obviously, are the minifigs. So in front of the cooker, there couldn't really be anyone else but Molly Weasley, making sure everyone's fed and watered and feeling happy. We can have a little visit from Lupin and Tonks. Oh no, why won't you sit down? Ah, didn't line you up properly. Come on then, Fedora, please sit. There we go. Oh, hidden behind a bottle. So we can have a couple of people sitting, and we've got another jumper there if we want to have standing figures in the kitchen. So we can have some members of the Order of the Phoenix visiting, and of course in the front room here, Sirius can be showing Harry the family tree and telling that story. Got a couple of jumpers in the hallway, so we can add, just because he's on hand, Hagrid coming for a visit. Yeah, I know it wasn't in the books, but why not? So this gives me a nice place to obviously draw in books 5 and 7. Do we visit in 6? Can't remember. I think it's just 5 and 7. So I can pop this on display to put out all my Order of the Phoenix miniatures, minifigs, and just have a nice interiors display, and that all can then be stored inside one of these. Now this slope piece is just to stop the couch falling out, and I now have to remember how this all plugs in. So let's take our walls out. Now, if I remember rightly, this one goes here, and this one goes here. So we've got the blank spaces on the tiles to allow our little mini builds that are integrated in the wall just to sit flush against the surface. And then we can take our other 3 short walls, and they can just pop up, sit here. That one fit there. No, that one's got to go. Think. Processing. That one goes there. Goes there. There we go. Almost as if I know what I'm doing. Then our couch can slot in. Let's call it there. And what about our dining table? I've got a couple of studs here so that I can do it on camera. I can sit there and fold up nicely. And we just put our tiles on wherever I've left myself a couple of studs. Nowhere. So I've clearly done this a different way than I did before. Let's pop it through there. You can do it. Is it gonna? Yeah. And that all folds up, and that can sit on my massive wall of books. Obviously I need to change the shelf. Now, the reason this is like this, because I was thinking I would nod to Grimmauld Place with the spine of the book by having the 2 regular coloured buildings and then a grey row on the inside, just to, you know, that Grimmauld Place between its two neighbours looking slightly different. And that would just be my little nod to the fact that Grimmauld Place is stored inside this book, just so I can remember. I can't remember how I put the couch in now and it keeps falling out. But there we go. That is a Grimmauld Place interior, or it was until I packed it away. And this floor is going to be the basis for at least one, hopefully two other interiors. One of them I've already designed. I don't want to put too much up on the live stream and give away all the secrets. And the other one I'm still got in the works. So if you can think of two interiors that would work with a bare wood floor, you would probably be correct. There's only two that spring to mind for me. And that's it. That will be it for this live stream, showing us the final of our facade builds for the top floor of the facade tower. I haven't shown you it in situ. Let's try and get all of the tower itself into view. So we've got the first level, which again holds a permanently displayed forest. The next level on top of that is going to be our arches and tower tops. It's just going to sit on there. I'll get these all in a shot in a moment. And then our balcony doors and our school crest was the next layer. And the top level is our small windows. So I say that as if you can actually see any of that. But that is our completed tower. All the way out there. Covering the 5 levels of my Hogwarts build. There we go. And they all integrate into the interesting details that I've already got on the front of my Hogwarts. So that's it for our live streams. Obviously the reason I did these, well, not obviously, I never actually made it clear why I decided to stream these builds. I didn't do an upload yesterday, my daughter wasn't very well and I'd run out of videos in hand, and I was supposed to create a couple more build videos and I never got the chance. But she's better now. She's gone off for her weekend away with her mum. So I get the house to myself. Yay! So I'm going to do loads of building, get lots of videos in hand for upcoming weeks, because obviously with the holiday coming up, I'm not going to get much of a chance to build. So that's why I've done these live streams. I will edit these down and make regular videos of them for everyone else to see. I've got a couple more builds I'm going to do this afternoon. One of which is this new build for the castle. Not going to show you the interior, don't want to give it all away, but it's got a little garden on the outside because we've got this extra bit, and this is going to be one of the lower level modules. If you've got any guesses what it could be, do leave them in the comments, and that will be up on the channel hopefully before the end of the year. But that's our stream. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your comments. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like. And as always, please subscribe to Brickinet. Bye-bye.